It's 100% entertainment, 100% electricity, 100%.
Pipebomb Radio with your host, Felix Olmedo.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
And Austin James.
That's the bottom line. From stone to stone.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. And it's Tuesday night again. It's that time of the night when we bring on one of the best shows, I guess, so far. One of the best shows on the podcast network. So I don't know if I said that proper introduction right, but you know what? You get my point. Our host, of course, Felix, joined by Austin James, and, of course, AJ. How you guys doing?
Doing phenomenal.
I'm okay.
I know that we're just coming off of a pretty explosive Raw last night. I wanted to get your guys' quick opinions on the show, and then we'll get into our guest tonight and go from there. What did you guys think of the show last night?
Raw last night I think was really remarkable. Actually, you use that type of word in big situations, and that was a huge Raw last night. I mean, it just moments felt like it was kind of like an Attitude Era show, kind of. An episode from the Attitude Era. I mean, you don't still really see many people get arrested on wrestling shows that quite often. And in quite some time we haven't seen that.
I don't know about you guys, but I swear Stephanie reminded me of her father when she was getting that upset and threatening the police officers. She reminded me of Vince McMahon from the late 1990s getting arrested. What do you think about that, AJ?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, the moments that he shared with Stone Cold where he got Stone Cold arrested and then it backfired on him, like the look on her face and everything, it reminded me of exactly what you just said. It reminded me of Vince way back when in the 90s. But, like, Raw last night was amazing. And
I think a great show. It had a lot of surprises. But
and I think anytime you have Brock Lesnar on the show, it's added to it.
And that Miami crowd seems to always get electric when that man gets in that building, and I don't know what it is. He's not even from Miami.
No, I'm telling you that SummerSlam is going to be off the chain because Brock Lesnar versus John Cena is going to be happening in the main event. And I don't care how much you hate John or anybody hates John Cena. I'm not just saying, I don't know if you like him or not, but I mean, no matter how many people hate John Cena, I know for a fact that it's going to be an amazing match because John Cena, when he's put up against somebody else, that's equally, want to, put on a great show, they put on some really awesome matches.
Yeah, I think so. At this point, people are really still upset with Brock for ending the streak, but they wouldn't choose anybody else to destroy John Cena. So you get the good with the bad, and then you're going to see it. You're going to see a fight. You're not going to see a wrestling match. You're going to see a fight. So.
Tonight
without any further ado, guys, I actually wanted you guys to tell me a little bit because one thing I've learned over the last, I guess you'd say about the last 18 months, it's been about that, is that the New Orleans crowd, New Orleans fans, are some of the most passionate and loud fans that most people would never really think that they would be, but in reality they really are. Because coming out of the New Orleans area, you guys have the Wildkat crew out there, and they put on some great shows. They got great talent. They got a hell of a trainer. And we've got somebody from the Wildcats coming on, and not just anybody. Tell us a little bit about who the guest is tonight.
Tonight on Pipebomb Radio, we're actually going to have the Dalmatian sensation, Danny Flamingo. He stands out like a sore thumb, in front of you can pick him out in a crowd of 1,000. He's really a guy that you notice when you're looking at him. He's wearing pink, and he's a flamingo, right? And he's one of the Wildcat standouts trained, by Luke Hawks in the Wildcat training facility in New Orleans. And this coming Saturday night, July 26th, they're going to be having a huge show, hotter than hell. And I believe, I have it saved here on my phone machine, that it's actually going to be, at the time, I'm trying to find the details because I'm going to write it down. I just got a poster here. So July 26th at, where is it? Bell time, 7 p.m. Tickets start at $10. It's perfect. $10 for a ticket. Hey, man. Tickets are sold actually at wildcatsports@gmail.com, or you can get them by the phone, 504-343-9453. It's going to be an amazing night.
Speaking of amazing nights, before we get on to our guest, one last question I posed to you both. Would love to hear what you both thought of it. But you guys just came off of a show at for Elite Championship Wrestling. How did that go? Was it from judging from the videos that Austin posted? They were pretty loud. The crowd was really into it.
Definitely.
Was it a good show, guys? Did you enjoy it?
I unfortunately had to miss it because I started a new job recently and they wouldn't get me off the show. So unfortunately, I couldn't be there.
I mean,
okay.
For the
fair enough. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I mean, for the Elite for this past Sunday night, I mean, history was made. Our last week's guest on Pipebomb Radio, John Saxon, is the new Elite Heavyweight Champion, and it was just overall great and a historic night for Elite.
All right. Well, congratulations to John Saxon. We'll be talking to him again very soon. In the meantime, I know I've stalled long enough. Time to make that call and get this show on the road. What do you guys say?
I agree.
All right. Just dialing up that number now. I think I'm getting the hang of this dialing thing, so. What's that?
Let's see if you can get it the first time around. It usually takes you 5 or 6 times.
As I was saying, I'm getting the knack of this. I'm getting the hang of it. I think I can do this. I'll be like, I think I can. Here we go. Is it going to work? 1, 2, 3.
Now we're reading books on Pipebomb Radio.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Christmas in July.
I think you should play
Hello.
Hello, is this Danny?
This is Danny. Who's this?
This is Felix, Austin, and AJ from Pipebomb Radio. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I'm hanging in there. It's good to hear from you guys. I was beginning to think you stood me up.
No, we don't stand people up.
No, we wouldn't do that, man. We wouldn't do that.
No. We can't stand up for Flamingo.
That's right. It wouldn't be a beautiful thing. I can promise you that.
And flamingos are beautiful, right?
They are absolutely beautiful. Why you think that's my name? It's because it's me. It's just a beautiful thing. I'm telling you.
So, Danny, I wanted to actually get some information about you. I want to learn a little bit about who Danny Flamingo is. Growing up as a young man, and at what age would you say that you started? That you started to be a fan of professional wrestling? Did you start maybe later in life? Were you a young kid and following it during the 80s or 90s?
It's one of these things. It's quite surprising. Like, growing up, everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is and all that other junk, but Ultimate Warrior and stuff. But I didn't really, get into it. I didn't get into it until the Bash of the Beach when they formed the NWO. Everybody talked about when Hogan went bad, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Hogan ain't going to do nothing. He ain't a bad guy. What are you talking about? And I turned on a WCW Monday Night Nitro, and I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? And from there, it was like, it was just before the Attitude Era started. So it was all gang warfare mentality and stuff, and I thought it was great.
Now, were you one of those guys that flipped the channels? I'm like, I'm going to watch WCW, but I'm also going to watch Monday Night Raw.
What's funny is I started as a hardcore WCW guy. And the Giant, Paul Wright, he was my favorite wrestler at the time, was the Giant. And I remember I'm watching it, and everybody's like, oh, man, we got to watch WWF. And I'm like, man, it's garbage, this and that. And I turned on a Monday Night Raw one night, right at the Undertaker's entrance when he was coming out to wrestle Psycho Sid on a Monday Night Raw. And that was it. I was hooked. I was a Dead Man fan all the way.
Felix is the same way.
I like this man already.
I mean, like I said, I had no interest. I knew that show was taped. I'm like, Vince ain't even got the audacity to do a live show. They can't compete with the big boys where the big boys play and all this. And like I said, man, I saw Undertaker walk out to the ring, and I'm like, that's the man right there. That is the dude.
So, when the Monday Night Wars went down and it was WCW versus the WWF, were you kind of half and half on it, or what were you really pulling for?
It was at the point where, in the beginning, I was a bandwagon jumper. So, I was started with WCW, and I was with WCW all the way, but then it was WWF put on a really damn good show. So I'd flip back and forth like everybody else, But the thing is like, if there was a good match on Raw, I would watch it because I would stay up and catch the replay of Nitro and catch what I missed.
Now, if you were in that position at the time, if you had to choose between going to WCW or WWE, which one do you think you would fare in the best, fare and well the most?
What, back then or back then?
Yeah, back then. Like, say if you had a choice to go to WCW or WWE during that time, where do you think you would fare the best?
I would probably have to say WWF at the time because they wanted it more. They was hungry. You could tell. It's like somebody compared. I had compared independent wrestling and then TNA and WWE with professional football and college football. And a lot of people like college football because them guys are hungry. They want it. They ain't playing for a paycheck. And that's the same thing with us independent guys. We ain't wrestling for a paycheck. We wrestling to get to the big league. Why do you think guys like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are so good? Because they know what it's like to be in a high school gym with 50 people, and that's what you got to work with.
Absolutely. And about what age were you when you decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out there and I'm going to learn how to wrestle. And you pursued it. About what age were you when you started?
Let's see. I was in when I started watching wrestling. It was right before I went into middle school, so I started doing collegiate wrestling in middle school. Oh, and I remember my coach, Jim Ballantyne. Boy, he hated the fact that me and my buddy liked professional wrestling. Oh, he could not stand it. And that was my whole reason for doing collegiate wrestling, because I was like, one day I'm gonna be a professional wrestler. I'm gonna do it. And the horrible thing is, what's that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
The horrible thing is that until Wildkat opened 3 years ago, there was no real outlet for professional wrestling. I mean, in my area, back in Chalmette, as a matter of fact, you had the Cajun Connection. I don't know if y'all ever heard of them, but they used to wrestle for WCCW back with Kevin Northcutt, the Prince of Pain, Joe Kane, Menace to Society. All these guys I used to watch in the St. Bernard Civic Center, and they used to have they would just, train themselves, with themselves, and they didn't really have a school. Well, I ended up, one of the guys from Cajun Connection, his wife was a teacher at Chalmette Middle School. And I was a student, and I was like, hey, I want to be a pro wrestler. He's like, I'll train you. Pay me and we'll do it. And, I paid him, and it never got off the ground, and it sat for years and years and years. And then here I am now, grown-ass man, and, finally being able to get in the ring and do what I've always wanted to do. And I tell people, it from the moment of what y'all asked, how old was I? I want to say I was probably about 13 or 14. And I didn't care if it was a backyard with 6 people or if it was an arena with 600,000. I just want to be in a group of people and kick somebody in their teeth.
There you go.
Yeah. And, you said that you're doing collegiate wrestling. Some of the best wrestlers in the professional wrestling world has a collegiate background. I mean, Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler, Brock Lesnar, Jack Swagger. I mean, I can continue and go on and on. How do you think you kind of formed your style in the ring after collegiate wrestling? Kind of mix it in with professional wrestling?
For collegiate wrestlers, when you watch it in the ring as professionals, the moves are different, and you see how you do an armbar or a roll up, things like that. You do them differently when you do them in collegiate. And I remember my coach used to get mad at me when I would do a flashy move in practice, and he'd be like, "Why are you doing that? You're doing that WWE crap, the WWF crap, man. You can't do that, this and that." And he used to get in my face and tell me Hulk Hogan couldn't last from one of my practices. And but the transition, if I would have came straight out of collegiate wrestling into professional wrestling, would have been very difficult. But because I hadn't wrestled collegiately in well over 10 years, my transition was easy because I kind of forgot everything I knew and was able to be retrained. But it's still apples to apples and oranges to oranges. I mean, it's a collegiate wrestling is a basic foundation stone for our business.
Gotcha. And at this point, when did you get in contact? Did you go directly to Wildkat when they first were built, or did you wait a little bit and then kind of investigate, see how they were, and then come into them? I mean, what did it take for you to get in contact with Luke Hawx?
I tell people this story and they think it's absolutely hilarious. And at first they think I'm lying, and then as I continue, they're like, "Wow, you're not BSing us." I went to a TNA show. I went to 2 TNA shows. The first TNA show I went to, I took me and my oldest daughter, and we got to go backstage. We met Orlando Jordan, and a very nice guy, whatnot. So then we go to a UWF event in the St. Bernard Civic Center. And my daughter had never been to an independent wrestling show. She'd only been to TNA and WWE. And as you know and all the listeners know, it's 2 totally different crowds when you're talking TV wrestling and independent wrestling, right? So what we did is we go to this show, and they're handing out Wildkat flyers for the wrestling school. So I look up on the website, and the website saying that June of the following year they would have another class, and I wasn't paying attention, so I'm like, all right, I got months to get ready. So I found out when they're having a Wildkat show, and they were doing it on the West Bank. So I take my daughter to that. This is our second independent show. So we go, we have a good time, and I meet Luke Hawks. And I asked him about the school, and I asked him what he required. Now, if anybody's seen any of my pictures, granted, I ain't the biggest cat in the room, but I got the biggest mouth in the room, so it makes up for it. And I looked at Luke Hawks, and I said, well, what do you require of your trainees? He says, I need heart. And I looked at him, and I was like, what else do you need? And he kind of smirked at me. He says, that's it. He says, if you got heart, I can take care of the rest. I said, all right. I said, well, I see y'all got another class. When I had this conversation with Luke, it was in April of last year. And I said, well, I see y'all don't have another class till June. He says, no. This was a Saturday night I was talking to him. He says, no. Class starts on Tuesday. So I kind of sat there for a second. I'm like this Tuesday, coming up? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'm not ready. He says, don't worry about it. Just come in. So I go into training Tuesday night, and I walk in at the time my job required me to dress somewhat nice. So I walk in, polo shirt, khaki pants, and he looks at me and he says, you here to be a manager, right? And I looked at him and I politely said, no, I'm here to get my head kicked in. And he laughed, and all his trainers popped their heads up, and everybody paid attention. And so that Tuesday I watched their training regimen, their conditioning regimen. And that Thursday, I started, that following Thursday in April, and I puked the first 20 minutes of the training.
I believe it.
That's a
I
statement.
definitely believe it.
They passed me the garbage can. I looked like I was going to hurl. They passed me the garbage can, and I hurled and went back to doing push-ups.
Wow, that's a huge statement. You walk in and you say, well, I want to get my head kicked in. That's, you asked for it, and I guess you got it, right? And then some.
That's it. Luke Hawks does not mix words. I'm sure you guys know that.
Very well.
And
very well.
I want to ask you, how did you actually, going into wrestling and you were trained, when did you come up with the name Danny Flamingo?
Well, for me, it's all about persona. Everybody models themselves after somebody. There's somebody. Somebody's a stepping stone for them. As far as the name goes, it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of was there. I kind of just put some things together, and but I guess it kind of just fits with everything. Danny Doreen was kind of one of my inspirations, and he's just, he's a cocky guy, and he's the next best thing to sliced bread, and that's exactly how I feel about myself. And then, if anybody watches any of my stuff online, you check me out, you see some of my intensity and ferocity. It's in my mind, it's all Undertaker. My never give up and never staying down, and just when you think I'm out, that man sits up. So for me, it's the Danny Flamingo just came to me. It was just, that's who I am. That's really the only way I could put it.
Absolutely. And this coming weekend, you guys, your show is for the Wildkat show. You guys have Hotter Than Hell. Tell us a little bit about your upcoming show. Who's your opponent?
Well, you know who my opponent is, and this is a load of garbage. okay? And I don't know if it was Brett Landry or Mr. Al or whoever put this together, who Jay Spade had to go and huff and puff to that he wanted a rematch with the Dalmatian sensation. But I tell you what, it's a load of crap. All right, I beat this dude already. I shouldn't have to wrestle him again. All right, now this is where you get me now, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you bottom line, I beat Spade. All right, and I'm not gonna take anything away from that guy. You look at him, he's built. He looks like a Greek statue. I'll give it to the guy. I will. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I beat him. I've been there, done that. You know what? Give me Lancey. Give me Mike Dell. You know, let's let the Dalmatian sensation do what he does and give me a championship opportunity. You know, don't put me against somebody I've already stomped. You know, I mean, he's a good guy and all, yada, 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 whatever. But, I mean, Jay Spade, been there, done that. So the powers that be said, hey, guess what, Danny, now you got to go against Jay Spade again. Somebody feels bad for him, this and that. I don't know. Who cares? You know, Jay Spade wants some more Danny Flamingo, he's going to get it. No problem. If that's what he wants, that's what he's going to get. But I ain't going to promise him he's going to like it. That's for damn sure. You know, he thought he got his behind handed to him. I apologize. I know you got a family-friendly show. But he thought he got his behind handed to him last time. Wait when he sees what I do to him this time. It's ridiculous, I'm telling you.
Looking forward to seeing people actually can get tickets by going to wildcatsports@gmail.com or by calling the phone number 504-343-9453. And tickets are just starting, you know, at $10. It's a perfect price for a wrestling show, and Wildcat puts on some of the best wrestling shows you can ever watch, you know, and feast your eyes on. And
make sure you guys check out wildcatsports.com for more information.
Definitely, and Matt Lancey's going to face off with Luke Liddell and for the Revolution Championship, and Luke Hawks I cannot wait for this. Luke Hawks is going to take on Ray Rowe. That's going to be one hell of a match and then some. And for the Wildcat Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, I'm not sure who's Mike Dell going to face. I mean, anybody have anything? I don't know.
Well, I made a comment in the locker room the other day, like I just said, you know, I'm done with Spade. Why don't you give me Lancey? Why don't you give me Mike Dell? And I made the comment about me going up for the one-man challenge. And I kind of got some looks around the locker room. If you hadn't noticed, I don't particularly worry about upsetting people. That's not really my forte. I could care less. But I wanted to test the water, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Danny Flamingo should go ahead and answer Mike Dell's challenge. So, you know what? I'm not going to ruin any surprises. So, y'all just going to have to tune in, whether you're watching it on the web series, you go ahead and spend the money and come to the show. Because you never know. When I'm finished kicking Jay Spade's teeth in, I might decide I'm going to answer the one-man challenge, and you might be talking to the next Wildcat heavyweight champion. I mean, anything's possible.
That's right. And in the era of managers, an era that seems to have died off, do you feel that your character would have needed a manager? Do you feel that it wouldn't be necessary? Maybe a valet would have been better? Knowing that there were so many great managers, if you had the opportunity to work with a particular manager or not, or a valet, who would you have chosen?
Well, before I get to who I've chosen, I don't know if you guys like my Dalmatian Sensation page, but I was actually privileged enough to be bought and paid for by the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. That, my friend, was by far the most beautiful thing that has ever happened yet in my career. Just because, you know, I kind of geeked out a little bit, I'm not going to lie. So being managed by a man like that, it's really kind of hard to top. But, you know, God's the honest truth, if I had to pick, you know, just to start out, I'm all for having a manager or a valet. But, you know, I happen to think that I am quite the handsome gentleman that I am. And I would definitely go with a valet. I mean, you know, let's be honest here. You know, it'd be hard for me to keep my eyes off of a good-looking woman at ringside. So I'm sure as hell my opponent's going to have the same problem. So I would definitely, you know, I mean, and on top of that, you know, I grew up watching, you know, Lita and Sunny and Sable and all these other women. And I mean, you know, hey, it would be, who doesn't like a nice eye candy at ringside? I mean, everybody loves it.
That's right. Who knows? You could find the baby doll of this generation. But
that's what I'm looking for. So
I do follow your fan page, the Chalmation Sensation page. It is available at facebook.com / the Chalmation Sensation Danny Flamingo. Just had a quick actually, I'm looking at your page now.
Now, besides Wildkat this coming Saturday night, July 26th, are there any other shows that you have coming up?
I'm actually going to be on at Full Throttle Wrestling, FTW, in Lake Charles Friday night. Dan told me what bus that they lined up for me, but I really doesn't care. I mean, I'm gonna make the drive, kick somebody's head in, and come home, probably grab something to eat and come home. I mean, it is what it is. It'll be, just another night in the business. It is what it is. I don't mind going out to FTW. It's whatever. Keeps me busy. The people out there, I think a lot of them are related and they're holding hands. I don't think they should be doing that, but it is what it is. I'm telling you, dude. Last show I was out there. I got in the ring, and these little couple sitting in the front row, and they holding hands, and I'm like, hey, y'all. And I looked at them, I'm like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Y'all are probably related. That's not right. And but they didn't listen. I
understand that. People in Louisiana, and especially in southern Louisiana, people are related. And you can't tell the difference if you're dating your own sister or something. I don't know.
Hey, look, you know what a good time in Chalmette is? Going to Walmart. I'm telling you, on a Saturday night, it's a beautiful thing. You see everybody you know.
And, you do have your fan page, obviously. And do you actually get on Twitter? Do you get on Instagram, any of the other social media?
What kills me is, man, I did not want to deal with all the garbage of all these other social medias. I was a MySpace guy, and MySpace got created for me. Yeah, I mean, my wife made a MySpace page for me, and she's like, hey, look, don't get mad at me. I'm like, what did you do now? And she's like, I made you a MySpace page. And I'm like, I don't want that garbage. And then she's like, well, here's your password, go get on it. And I got on it, and boy, I became hooked. I'm like, good God. And then all of a sudden, Facebook blew up, and I'm like, man, I don't want another one. And then everybody was on Facebook, not on MySpace. I'm like, all right, I moved over. And then now, everybody's doing the damn Twitter garbage, so I'm going to have to end up doing that. I don't have one now, but I am going to get one.
Yeah, you can be that wrestler because all the wrestlers are talking about, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You need to be that one guy that's like, yeah, you can follow me on MySpace as well. Check out my profile, man.
You know what? You're wrong for that. You really are. You should be ashamed of yourself for even suggesting that. Did somebody say that MySpace was coming back? Like, I thought that was a joke. Is that serious?
Well, I think Justin Timberlake
supposedly Justin Timberlake bought it out, and he was going to recreate it and blow it up again, supposedly make it match Facebook, but that's not going to happen. Not likely.
You think about it, okay? Mark Zuckerberg, I never can say his name correctly. I don't know if that's right, but that guy's a genius. I mean, you look at it. Instagram was going to blow up, so he bought it. He's like, can't be. He did what Vince did. You see the writing on the wall. If you got enough money, buy it. I'm sure sooner or later he's going to own Twitter, too, so it is what it is. I mean, you got to give it to the dude. He's not stupid. He was sitting in his garage having a beer, fussing about his ex-old lady, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to be a millionaire. I mean, really, dude? That doesn't happen to me.
Damn, that's pretty funny. You know what, though? We want to wish you the very best of luck in your matches coming up. I know that there probably be a walk in there, have your match, and like you said, go on home, have a bite to eat, and be done for the day.
But kick their head in. Remember that part.
There you go. We got to make sure we include that. But you should make a shirt that says that. I'm here to kick some teeth in. But
I'm gonna keep that in mind. I actually like that. That's a good idea.
But we really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight and telling us just who Danny Flamingo is. Definitely been a lot of fun. We look forward to maybe talking to you again in the future, maybe sometime in the next year or so, maybe sooner. Who's to say? But if we did that, would you be up to coming back?
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. I mean, it's not every day people get blessed with such greatness like the Chalmation Sensation.
I know. I wish I was blessed with greatness.
Give it time, man. Give it time. You're still young.
Still
What's
young,
that?
right, man. Oh, he's telling me, he said, well, yeah, you'd be blessed with greatness maybe when you're 25 or something, but maybe, right now it isn't the time for me, I guess, Well,
wait, I got a question. Before you guys let me go, Austin, is this your last show? I mean, tomorrow's your last show? What's going on?
Oh no, we cleared it all up. I mean, I thought that this week would be my last show, with Pipebomb Radio, but I mean, when I'm back on track with them. We cleared, the dust has settled, and everything's all cool now.
But that's because I ain't gonna lie, when you contacted me, I went ahead and Facebook stalked you, and I'm like, and then you announced that you were retiring as one of the hosts of Pipebomb Radio. I'm like, dude, this guy's 18. What do you mean he's retiring? I was trying to retire at 25, and that didn't work. I'm like, how did this little dude get to retire at 18? I ain't gonna lie, I was pissed. I really was.
Everything's cool now. I mean, they had some I don't know, things I wasn't really pleased with, right, Felix? And everything's good now.
I like how you just Wildkat Felix right there, right, Felix?
It had nothing to do with him. It was nothing to do with him at all.
You threatened to kick his teeth in, didn't you?
I did a couple times.
How did you tell him, Austin? You told him, didn't you? I'm just kidding.
He just went full Flamingo on him.
Flamingo,
that's right.
Yeah.
No, Austin's going to be around for quite a long time, and he's also going to be expanding his duties very soon. You guys can stay tuned for that. But see, Austin, you've got fans, man. You got fans out there in the New Orleans area, man, and basically all around, not just New Orleans, man.
Yeah, I got some fans. I mean, some really cool ones that turn around, and they have some the open fans and the ones that hang on the wall. When you're sleeping, those clip-on fans, they're really good too.
You know what? Before I let you go, Danny, I would you be up to taking a call?
Yeah, absolutely.
From a fan. Oh, he just bailed. Whoever it was just bailed. All right. Well, I guess they chose not to. Maybe they thought that you'd be too much for him to, that you might try to scare him off or something. So they got scared and they left.
I saw a bunch of people commenting on my page talking about they wanted to call in and they was gonna read me the riot act. And I mean, hey, I'm all for taking calls. I mean, look, I cleared my slot for you guys. Y'all wanted to talk with me and take some fan calls.
This caller is calling back right now, so we'll get him on right now, real quick. Let's see how this goes. From area code 718, you're on with the Shalmation sensation. I hope I said that right. Shalmation sensation, Danny Flamingo. What's your question? Hello?
You there?
Here. From area code 718, are you there? Can we hear? We can't hear you, man. Got to speak up. All right. Well.
718. Where's that at?
That's okay. That's all right. Next time. We'll get somebody on here and we'll see what we can do. We should have probably got your opponent on here. That would have been a good one.
I tell you what, boy, you really gonna waste a guy's test. I don't know if he's even gonna show up Saturday. That's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if Jay Spade actually called in, I mean, I'm sure you would kick his teeth in through the phone. I've never seen it happen, but I mean, it's possible.
I don't rule anything out, and I wouldn't rule out the fact that Jay Spade don't even show up Saturday. I mean, like I said, I ain't gonna take nothing away from the guy. He's an athlete. Look at him. He's a good physical specimen. It is what it is. But hey, just because he's muscular doesn't mean he can't be smart. Just don't show up, Jay Spade. You'll be all right.
All right, guys, I apologize there. I wanted to let you know that the caller did actually call back with a problem on his phone, so I'm going to try to bring him on one more time. From area code 718, you are on with Danny Flamingo. What is your question?
Danny, I have a question. What makes you think that you're going to kick Jay Spade's butt this Saturday?
Who is this caller? What's your name, dude?
My name's Mike.
Mike what?
D'Ambra.
Okay, and let me see. I'm hearing this accent. So you from up north, right? You're a Yankee? Is that what that is?
I'm a Yankee from Brooklyn. That's correct.
A Yankee from Brooklyn. You're a WAP too, ain't you?
That is correct.
Okay. And what was your question? You want to know what makes me think that I'm going to be Jay Spade, right?
Yeah, I'm curious. You sound pretty confident in yourself.
Did you see my last match with Jay Spade?
I happen to have seen that match.
Okay, well, maybe you might have been sleeping, but you did see that I pinned his shoulders to the mat. 1, 2, 3. That's how I know I'm going to beat him again. It is what it is. You know what they say, people in Texas do it bigger? Well, guess what? People in New Orleans and Chalmette, we do it better. It's just a beautiful thing. It's how it's going to be.
So are you going to do it? Are you going to do it Eddie Guerrero style again?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you know, anything's necessary to win.
Hey, look, a win is a win. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. I'm going to do what I got to do to get the win. If Jay Spade can't keep up, that's his problem, not mine.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, Austin, if you guys are all right with it, well, I like this guy. He's all right. Why don't we see? He's got another question, unless we got another caller.
No, at this point, that's all for the questions. He's definitely going to be there watching, so I'm glad we were able to bring him on. That is the only phone call at the moment, but
wow, that guy really had his opinion, right?
Which, you know what, though, if that's what makes them a fan. They all have an opinion, and they like who they like, and they don't like who they don't like. And you know what? Above anything else, they're going to go to this match and be entertained. So
without a doubt,
that's all that matters.
Hey, one way or another, I'm not in this business to make friends. I'm in here to make money and make championships. You know, it is what it is.
You're right.
What is it? Bret Hart said in one of his documentaries, if you can come out with 3 or 5 friends in this business, you came out ahead. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not looking to make friends.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you hanging out with us. I got to take a call, got to tell Austin you're a fan, and I think he digs that. He appreciates that.
I actually am. Like I said, I was a little concerned. It's like, hey, he's going to retire after he talks to me and then book a T. Really?
No. You know, I'm not a person that retires. I mean, I don't know if you retire from radio. I'm like, look, I'm retiring from speaking across the line, man. I'm gonna do that again. No, I'm continuing with this type of stuff. Next week, and we're gonna be having Booker T on. It's gonna be an amazing show, and hope to actually get you back on in the future. Maybe in the future or sometime soon, you're gonna be Wildkat heavyweight champion. Maybe this Saturday night.
That's
maybe
right.
you're gonna answer Mike Dell's open challenge and you'll come over the man on top. You know, you'll be the one man instead of Mike Dell.
I like the way you think. You're gonna go places in life. I'm telling you, you're gonna go places in life.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Y'all call back anytime, yeah?
That's right, we will. Thank you again for joining us, man. Have a good night.
Y'all too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, folks. The Dalmatian sensation, Danny Flamingo. What a character. What a character. And, you know, I'm glad for people calling in. That is why we leave the number on there so you guys can call in and ask any of our guests any questions, or if you have questions for the host. And for those who are still hanging in there, if you have a question for any of us, call in at area code 347-202-0399. That was quite an experience. Got to learn a lot about this guy, and he definitely sounds very confident. And hey, you know what? He might just answer that challenge, and we might be able to say we would be speaking to a future world champion here. What you guys think of tonight's show?
I was thinking the same thing as you. Very, very outspoken guy, very interesting character. And he's definitely not afraid to speak his mind. And when the caller came in and, you know, started going at it, I was like, oh, God. You can hear me. I go, oh. Because I knew what was about to happen. I knew he was about to rip him a new one.
Well,
yeah, I
would have kept it under control, but I mean, for the most part, it kept it entertaining. It kept it, you know, he didn't push the limit too far. I mean, he was respectful and you know, to a point. It made it interesting.
You can't push the limit in professional wrestling. I mean, if you're going to be talking to a wrestling guy, I mean, it doesn't matter what your question is going to be. I mean, especially, with Danny Flamingo, he doesn't take crap from anybody. And if he would, he would kick your face in, right? And I'm definitely looking forward to Saturday night at the Wildkat Professional Wrestling Hotter Than Hell event. And like I keep on saying, I'm going to refrain a couple more times before the end of the show tonight.
Well, have you guys ever checked out a Wildkat show?
Yeah, I actually used to work security for Wildkat shows up to the point that I had ended up with Elite. But Wildkat has an amazing product, and I always enjoyed the Wildkat shows.
You know, like I was saying, you can actually get tickets by going to wildcatsports@gmail.com or by phone 504-343-9453, and tickets start at $10. Doors open at 6 p.m., bell time 7 p.m., and it's going to be one hell of a night. Hence the name Hotter Than Hell, right? It's going to be a one hell of a show.
Absolutely. We wish all the guys at Wildkat the best. They have a great show. We've had a number of them on with us, and they're always fun to talk to. By far, I will say this, I'll go on record as saying, although I couldn't understand a damn thing he was saying, Buku Dao was quite entertaining to talk to.
Well, no,
I couldn't understand him for the life of me, Austin. I don't know if he adapted speaking Buku, Buku language or whatever. He adapted that language, and I guess he just had a conversation and interviewed the guy, because I just sat back and be like, damn.
Well, no, the thing is, I actually learned Buku about 3 months ago. I took some time out on a Saturday evening and learned it, and I understood what he was saying. It was an excellent interview, with Buku Dao. Anytime we have the Wildkat stars on, it's always one hell of an interview, and I hope to get each one. What we plan to do is the Tuesday before the Wildkat show is going on to the future. We're going to bring on one of the Wildkat guys, and hopefully we can get Luke Hawks back on. Always an awesome talk to Luke Hawks.
And he is one that's no joke about anything. I've seen just a little bit of his shoot video he did just recently. Holy moly! But you know what, though? I admire the guy's, his heart and determination to be successful no matter what. It's definitely something to be. I have a great deal of respect for the man for what he's done.
Definitely.
But
you actually have a huge week coming on Pipebomb Radio. We have tomorrow night. We have WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. What's the new time? I know I thought I was going to say 10 p.m. Central, but it's a different time for Booker T tomorrow night. What's the details on that?
It's at 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m. I'm just kidding. 5 p.m.
Awesome.
Pacific Standard Time.
Wow. and
Can you dig
Thursday
that?
Night, yes, amen.
Sucker.
And also Thursday night we have Not Your Mama's radio show at the time for that. I keep on forgetting it's 8 p.m.
It's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. They are bringing on former WWE superstar, ECW superstar, TNA superstar, and this go on and on. Just Incredible, a.k.a. Aldo Montoya, a.k.a. PJ Polanco, and the list goes on and on. We've got a busy week ahead of us. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah, and the debut of Friday Night Warfare, the new show on Pipebomb Radio hosted by myself and Matt Nelson, who's going to be joining the team Friday night. And basically what it's about is we're covering all ground for professional wrestling, from Raw to SmackDown to NXT to Main Event to Impact Wrestling to Explosion to Ring of Honor. We are covering all those those companies, and it's going to be great. Start of a new series that's going to kick ass into the future, right? And you better load your cannons, because Friday Night Warfare is going to be awesome. It really will be, and I'm looking forward to the debut at 10 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. California Pacific people
Standard
time. West Coast. People want me to
no, it's what do you call it, Austin? You call it 8 p.m. Orange people time?
Yeah, that's what I said. If you don't want to translate, it's actually West Coast, but that's how it's going to be.
Well, you like to refer to us Californians as orange people, so I figured I'd throw that in there.
Well, you guys are always in the sun, on the beaches of California,
No, I'm really not. Actually, I'm about an hour and a half, maybe or so, from a beach. But thank you for asking.
And like the Terminator says, what's his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you guys grow the best oranges in California. So that's why I say, there's the orange people, because you guys have the best oranges that I've never had. People say Florida lanes plain.
You know what, though? Florida's pretty awesome. I lived there for a little bit, and their water sucks, but their orange juice is awesome. I think their orange juice.
Hurricanes ran you out, scared you.
Well,
me and AJ withstood many hurricanes in our time.
I bet you did. I went through a few myself, but you guys lived through it yearly, so It's no joke. It's something that can be very, very scary if you get hit with it full on, full force. But from the 2005 to now, you guys have definitely prevailed. I don't know how hard it hit you guys. I think Austin mentioned it. I don't know how hard it hit you, AJ, but yeah, that was intense.
I'm a soldier. Nothing hits me hard.
This is different. I guess it was different for everybody, but I know that New Orleans was definitely hit pretty hard. I mean, they rose back again, and you'll have shows now like Wildkat Professional Wrestling. That's going to be this Saturday night, July 26th, and New Orleans is a strong place. That's why the people there
they've got a lot of
passion.
They've got a lot of passion and love for professional wrestling out there. I can't deny that.
I mean, look at
we mentioned
Luke Hawx, for example.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was saying, look at Luke Hawx, for example, a guy from New Orleans. He doesn't take crap from nobody. Same with Danny Flamingo.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is, although we mentioned what we have tomorrow, we have WWE Hall of Famer, Reality of Wrestling owner, Booker T joining us tomorrow, Justin on Thursday, new debut of Friday Night Warfare Friday. We've got a legend returning to our show next Tuesday night. Tell us about who this legend is, Austin.
Oh, my God. Felix knows how freaking excited I get when this guy joins us in Pipebomb Radio. I'm so glad that
it's not him. It's actually a female.
Oh.
He's a following
people
week.
know how freaking excited when we're talking to a former NWA, not former, I'm talking about a Hall of Famer. It's a former NWA. She's actually an NWA Hall of Famer, Susan Green. If you talk about women in professional wrestling that have actually really done something in this world, and being great wrestlers, actual wrestlers, not just people that dress up into these Hello Kitty outfits and go to a square circle. This is a wrestler. Susan Green is going to be on with us next week on Pipebomb Radio. If you remember, she joined us last January with Blackjack Mulligan. That was such an awesome show. It was the first show of 2014, and it's going to be just such a great show.
I agree. Susan it was a great pleasure to talk to. She was very gracious and thanked me when we got off the air the next morning, I guess, for allowing her to be able to reminisce with an old buddy who she loves like a brother, Blackjack Mulligan, who's been on the show a few times and is always a pleasure to speak with. He will be joining us soon. But this coming Tuesday, Susan Green returns to the show to tell us how she's been doing. Her thoughts on women in professional wrestling, and a lot of information to talk about. It's going to be a fun show, and I hope you guys hang on for the ride because it's going to be fun. And if you didn't catch Pro Wrestling Historical Society, I got to tell you, last Sunday night show, they brought on pro wrestling historian and author. I can't think of the name of the book, and forgive me for that.
George
No, not George Shire, but I can't think of the name of his book that he wrote. And while I'm talking about it real quick, if you want to look it up, Austin, that's fine. Their discussion, because he was around during this era, was the AWA. From Vern Gagne to the Road Warriors, all was discussed, even my all-time favorite, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Talking about the territory, what it was like working during those times when the name Stan Hansen was brought up. The champion Vern Gagne, his company. It was great discussion of wrestling history. I was pretty amazed. I listen in every week, and I think by far this has been my favorite show.
Yeah, and he's actually the author of Minnesota's Golden Age of Wrestling from Vern Gagne to the Road Warriors, which is actually available on Amazon.com. You can get it right now. And people seem to really enjoy his book. I mean, he's one hell of a historian, and like you said, one of the absolute best episodes of Pro Wrestling Historical Society this past Sunday. And they continue to put him on. I mean, every single time they're on live at Pipebomb Radio Network and doing their thing, they never fail to impress and make people learn about their the history of professional wrestling, kind of how we got to where we are today.
If you haven't heard it, I encourage you guys to check it out. You can always check it out on our website, pipebombradio.weebly.com. You can always follow all of our social media. as everything is connected there. But I do want to mention, we don't talk about it enough, although it's there. You guys definitely, if you check us out on iTunes, give us a rating, download us if you like. There's many, many ways you can listen to the show. And definitely check us out, give us a rating, tell us what you think. Tell us what you don't like, tell us what you like, tell us what you want us to keep doing, what you don't want us to keep doing. Hell, just leave it, just like, you know what, keep it up, you're doing fine. Or, you know what, y'all suck. Whatever. Hey, you know what, it's a rating. Let us know what we're doing wrong, we can work on that. But, check us out, iTunes and all over social media. We're everywhere. There's nowhere that you cannot find us, because it amazes me that Pipebomb Radio reaches as far as it does. But I've seen people from, and Austin can vouch for this, from as far as Dublin, Ireland, New Zealand, Japan, the UK, Canada. Canada's obviously not a big deal considering they're our neighbors, but it reaches far. So we do reach pretty much all over the globe.
And last time I checked, the aliens on Mars were actually listening to the show. And, it was really interesting to hear about that conversation.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, AJ. How have you been enjoying yourself? You been having fun so far these last couple of weeks?
Oh, yes, sir. I love sitting here and talking with y'all and talking with our guests on the show, and I enjoy every single second of it.
And, as far as last week, obviously it was a little tougher because you had the Saxons and, a little bit about them. But I know we've got another great guest lined up next Tuesday, and the fun just keeps continuing from there. But
yes, sir.
I guess at this point we'll go ahead and call it an end for tonight. Great show, guys. Let's keep pushing forward. On behalf of AJ, on behalf of Austin, this is Felix for Pipebomb Radio, saying keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Good night, guys.
Good night.